Good morning, Mr. Jones Social Studies students. We've got an assignment today. Now, it's a few pages, but I'm going to go through it with you here in just a second. And I want you to know that you have today, tomorrow, and Friday to get it done. I'd like you to turn it in sometime on Friday. I'm not going to assign anything else. This is just what I want you to do. This should be very familiar. It's an assignment that we do in class all year long, okay? A couple of notes tomorrow. If you find yourself struggling on this, at 9 a.m., I'm going to have a Google Meets open for just social studies students. So you can hop on there. I can go through any of it with you. I can read some of it to you. I can show you how to find some of the answers if you're struggling with it. So just hop on there at 9 o'clock and we'll go over some of these things, answer any questions you guys might have, okay? But let's take a look at today's assignment. It's called the Lincoln Years. Okay. Now, there's another thing about how to open a Kami for remote learning. This shouldn't be anything unusual with you guys, but just in case. So we're going to open this up in Kami. Okay. And it talks about Abraham Lincoln. And as you can see, I've highlighted important text in different colors. And I've also matched that to some of the corresponding questions. Okay. So you have multiple choice questions that go with this. You have a timeline. And make sure you notice here, I circled this because it says, what are two things that happened in 1865? Well, you have 1865 March and April of 1865, and you have one, two, three things. So you need to choose two of these three things. Make sure you have two answers there because you get a point for each one. Okay, a lot of times we just rush to get it done and only get one answer put down, and we miss that it's asking for two things. And then you have the quiz, taking everything that you've learned from reading this and answering the timeline. You have some true and false, two multiple choice, and then a short answer. Your short answer is graded on three things. Did you try to answer it? Were you correct? And did you write it in a complete sentence? Those are the 3 points that I'm looking to give you on this short answer. Okay? So, again, this is something that we've done pretty commonly. To go back to the start here, it says Abraham Lincoln was the 16th president of the United States. He started his job as president in March of 1861. 1 month later, the Civil War began. During the Civil War, the northern and southern states fought against each other. The northern states were called the North, or the Union. The southern states were known as the South, or the Confederacy. These two groups had different opinions about many things. One thing they did not agree on was slavery. Most people in the North thought slavery should be against the law. The South did not want slavery to end. Because the two sides could not agree, some southern states broke away from the United States. President Lincoln thought all the states should stay together as one country. He also wanted to end slavery. As President of the United States, Lincoln was the leader of the Union. He worked hard to help the North win the Civil War. On January 1st, 1863, Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation. It was a paper that said the slaves in the Confederacy should be free. The paper made sure slavery would end if the North ever won the war. During the Civil War, Lincoln made some important speeches. His most famous speech was the Gettysburg Address. On November 19, 1863, Lincoln went to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania to dedicate a cemetery. His speech honored the Union soldiers who were buried there. Lincoln said these soldiers died to protect their country's democracy. Lincoln was elected president a second time. The Civil War was the main topic of his second inaugural address in March of 1865. Lincoln was certain that the North would win the war. He wanted the North and South to work together to heal the country. The South surrendered to the North on April 9, 1865, and the Civil War was over. 5 days later, Lincoln and his wife went to a play at Ford's Theater in Washington, D.C. During the play, John Wilkes Booth walked up behind the president and shot him. Booth shot Lincoln because he was angry that the South had lost the war. Lincoln, one of the United States' most important presidents, died the next day. All right, guys, that is all I have. I've read that to you. Answer your questions, and I'll see you tomorrow.